Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to yet another video, folks. Today we are predicting the Europa League final about tomorrow between Spurs versus Man United. Before we get into the YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe button and support the channel, and that's free to do. Right, let's just we got games tonight: Crystal Palace versus Wolves and Man City versus Bournemouth. Let's just talk about Crystal Palace versus Wolves. It will be celebrity atmosphere at Crystal Palace, with the Eagles having won their first ever major trophy at the weekend as they take on Wolverhampton Wanderers during this midweek. Crystal Palace won their first ever major trophy at the weekend as they defeated Manchester City by a goal to nil at Wembley Stadium in the final of 2024-25 FA Cup, thanks to a first half winning goal scored by Uji Eze and Omar Mamouche, penalty saved by Dean Henderson. But the Eagles have been brilliant to watch since their mid to late October, but they have been one of the better sides in the league since that slowish start to the season. They can squeeze themselves into the top half in the final two games of the campaign. As for Wolves, since they're the appointment for former Porto boss Victor Piore in mid-December to replace the former FC Bournemouth boss Gary O'Neill, Wolverhampton Wanderers has been much improved as they sit comfortably clear of the bottom three after an excellent calendar year. However, Wolves do come into this one of a back-to-back defeats. They were beaten 1-0 by Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium a couple of weeks ago before a 2-0 loss to Brighton and Hove Albion at Molineux in their most recent outing last weekend. So it will be incredibly special and emotional evening at Selhurst Park as the FA Cup winners are paraded as heroes in Croydon. But what is their final home game of the campaign? Crystal Palace takes on the Wolves side. That won't be able to spoil the party, but will be confident of finishing their own season with a flourish against Palace side with little to play for in the Premier League. So siding with Piore's men maybe will be a good bet for this one at Selhurst Park this week, midweek. But I'm going for Crystal Palace. I think Palace will win 2-1, but they'll be full of confidence. But yeah, I'm going for a Palace win 2-1. And next up, Man City versus Bournemouth. Manchester City have quickly bounced back from the FA Cup disappointment at the weekend as they welcome top 8 chasing FC Bournemouth to the Etihad Stadium for this midweek. But at the weekend, Manchester City suffered a 1-0 defeat to Crystal Palace at the Wembley Stadium in the final of the 2024-25 FA Cup, with the English international Uji Eze scoring the only goal of the game, and City once again struggle to find any fluency or conviction in the final third. And City now need to this penultimate game of the Premier League campaign, sitting just outside the top of the top 5 and the Champions League spots. This is a must-win. They'll take on another side chasing European football, Fulham on the final day. And as for FC Bournemouth, coming into this one on the back of a frustrating defeat to Aston Villa at the Vitality Stadium at the weekend, with Ollie Watkins scoring the only goal of the game in the first half stoppage time before Jacob Ramsey was sent off in the 80th minute for the Villains. But the Cherries have been unbeaten in their previous 5 matches in the Premier League. They'll still have a chance of earning themselves European qualification this season, and they sit 2 points outside the top 8 with a chance to go 8th ahead of the final day of the campaign. This is set to be Kevin De Bruyne's final appearance as a Manchester City player at the Etihad Stadium, but the Belgian international will want to help his side claim Champions League qualification after disappointment of their defeat at the weekend. However, they often been jubilant this season and appeared so much easy to slice through the final third. So Bournemouth, a vertical and direct, energetic side, will be confident at lead scoring, but they search to do the double over City this season, but City remain favourites with a home advantage. Both teams scoring would appear to be a good bet at the Etihad. But I'm going for Man City 3, Bournemouth 1. I think Kevin De Bruyne will score because that's his last appearance of a Man City player. Right, Tottenham Hotspur versus Man United. This is an all-English UEFA Europa League final taking place at the San Mamés in Bilbao in the Basque country in Spain as the 16th in the Premier League. Manchester United takes on 17th in the Premier League, Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur haven't won a trophy since winning the League Cup in 2008, defeating Chelsea after extra time. Spurs could well end that drought after one of their worst domestic seasons, whereby they have suffered 21 defeats in 37 Premier League matches. And Postecoglou said he's always wins things in his second season, with the former Celtic manager expected to depart at the end of this season. Regardless what happens in Bilbao, he could well still achieve that despite their humiliation in the league. As for much like Tottenham, Manchester United have often, if not throughout the campaign, but veered into putting in fairly timed and pathetic performances with the Red Devils, but winning just 10 match games in 37 Premier League games, and yet they could still win silverware. Rumo Amorim has been as critical as United as any supporter, pundit or neutral as they come into this one on the back of an 8-match winless run of form in the Premier League like last season, though. But this could be a miserable season that ends up with a trophy in the cabinet. Right. If any bottom three have shown a bit of competitiveness this season, then one of these sides, if not both, could be realistically involved in the relegation battle. However, instead, one of these teams will go into seeded prop of next season's Champions League phase. Tottenham have beaten United 3 times this season. There is clearly technical identity within Spurs side, all belted often, seemingly quite navy identity. But that said, they have been mutual against Frankfurt and Bodo Glimt. The knockouts of the Europa League will have a bit more pragmatic without the likes of Kubiceski, Bagrov and Madison. With that in mind, a 4th Tottenham win over United would be a good bet. I'm going for Spurs 2-1. And also for the playoffs final championship, I'm going Sheffield United to beat Sunderland 2-1. I'm going for Charlton to beat Leyton Orient in League One final 2-1. And then AFC Wimbledon to beat Warsaw 1-0 in League Two final. But that's my predictions then for the Europa League final. Leave on your comments below and we'll see you in the next one. Bye. Peace out.